It all started with a friend of mine who bought a book called Momofuku, and it's written by David Chang. Real simple recipe, for ramen. It just got me hooked, you know. And then um, I went online on YouTube and just started doing research, and it just took off from there. It's really quite that simple. I didn't understand what people were doing in the Japanese realm. Very mysterious, I just wanted to find out and discover like what it is like these people are doing, you know. The language was, of course, I don't know how to speak Japanese. I love cooking, right? When it comes to like regional stuff, like here in the Rio Grande Valley, like making fajitas and bistec and charo beans and rice, like that's something that's very like culturally very close to myself, right? But like ramen, the mystery behind it, it's just so like intriguing, to me. I wanted to figure out like what is it these people are doing to make something that's somewhat complex but very simple at the same time. How can I combine what it is that I like to cook at home and fuse the two things together? Over the whole past decade, I guess that's what I've been trying to like figure out, how to combine the two things together. Brought me a lot of joy, making ramen makes me happy, and how much it makes other people happy too. And meeting Carlos, like becoming like best friends, it really is a great joy. I really appreciate, someone that can appreciate that same thing as much as I do. I'm very grateful for it,
I've always liked watching like cooking shows, like shows where they're like cooking food and um, like showing you like how the dish is made, and like I just like watching food because I like to eat a lot. But I came across a show on Netflix, maybe like in 2014, 2015, called Mind of a Chef. And it was the very first episode. It was David Chang, a Korean chef, and Peter Meehan. And they take a trip to a ramen shop called Taishoken, and they eat a style of ramen called skimmin. And I'm not joking, I must have watched that episode like 50 times, 100 times. In the opening sequence of that episode, they show, this crazy soup being made. They show this big old bowl of noodles, and it was two separate bowls. It was like the big old like mountain of noodles, and then the bowl with the soup in it and like toppings and things. And it just kind of blew my mind. And like I said, they were like showing like clips of like the soup and how it was made. And like, I didn't know what they were doing. Like, what were they pouring in the bowl? Like, why are they doing that? Why are they throwing like what looked like ground pork just straight up in the soup like that? So that's kind of what like piqued my interest about ramen, like making me realize like, oh, there's more than just like Maruchan instant ramen, because that's what I grew up eating as a kid. So skimmin. I was living in Austin at the time. This was like 2014. I searched up skimmin on Yelp and found that there was a place called Ramen Tatsuya in Austin, and they served skimmin. So when I found that out, I was telling my wife Celeste, like, we gotta go, and my mind was blown. Like I just loved the bowl. I loved what they were doing. It was very heavy. It was rich, deep, full of umami, and I was like, man, this is like the best thing ever. I am not joking. This is not an exaggeration. From that point up until now, I must have eaten that particular bowl of ramen like 250 times. I'm crazy, I guess, but I just liked it that much. But that's good. What started my journey. It was that, I really got into ramen, trying to make it at home. My first bowls of ramen at home like completely sucked. They were absolutely terrible. I had no idea what I was doing. I made the soup like all in one go, and you're not supposed to do that to make it right. 2015, we went to Japan, and I had my bowl of actual Japanese skimmin there at a place called Rokurinja in a Tokyo train station. Like, just tasting the soup, dipping the noodles in the soup, eating it, slurping it, mind is blown. I just, it was that moment forward where I was like, I just love this dish. and I wanted to learn how to make this particular bowl. It just sent me down this crazy rabbit hole, starting to watch nonstop YouTube videos online and like doing deep research on the different styles of ramen. And yeah.
So I started doing pop-ups probably like 5 years ago, and Carlos came to maybe like 3 or 2 of them. Two of them.
Two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we started to, hit me up and, hey, let's work together.
Like that first pop-up we went to was at Grind in Edinburgh,
Right.
coffee place. Yeah. And I ate the bowl. It was a shoyu that he made. And I immediately knew, like, oh, you're using different ingredients for this. Like you're using the real stuff that makes ramen good. Like it has the shoyu flavor. I could tell like there was some sort of dashing component in there. Like I knew that, okay, the guy's making this, he knows what he's doing. So you were super busy, but I had to grab your attention, or like you went to the restroom or something, and I was like, hey man, this is really good. And I don't know, he's like,
he thought I'd been to Japan.
yeah. I think the first thing I said was like, hey, you've been to Japan, right? And he was like, no,
never been there.
you could have fooled me or something. So yeah, so I ate the bowl and I was like, man, this is awesome. This is really great. So I started talking to you, and I had been making ramen at home just up until that point. We only started doing pop-ups like as Ramen Prosper like 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah, I would say.
That's when it really kind of
4 months ago.
Yeah, when it started to get like serious, I guess.
Before that time, I was going by the name Ramen Godai, which is the elements, earth, wind, water, fire, and heaven or whatever. So when we hooked up, and getting things together, I thought maybe we should maybe change the name. Ramen Prosper came to my mind because what does it mean to just being strong, and that's where the Prosper name came from. I pitched it to Carlos, and he just,
and it made sense to me because I want ramen to prosper in the valley, especially.
Right.
Because like doing everything from scratch, and me and Will, we're nerds about this stuff, right? Like we sit in front of our TVs at home and we watch ramen videos like for half the day.
Yeah.
Like in Japan and Japanese, like there's videos online you can find where dude walks into the ramen shop in the morning and he preps for the whole day, and it's mesmerizing to us. Bringing that same kind of like ideal and mindset and to the valley and having ramen prosper.